Hey guys, it's me, Spitfire from Spitfire Robotics, and I'm here for the first tutorial on Roblox, Robot Wars, RFC, and I'm going to be showing you how to build a basic robot with my pack, which will be in the description below. Alright, so the first thing you need to do when you're building a robot is suss out whether the competition you're wanting to enter has PGS turned on and off. Now, PGS is going to be explained further in a different video, but a little snippet here. If you go into Explorer, which we'll need open, and go into Workspace, click on it, and go into Properties, you will see here, where my mouse is hovering over, whether PGS is ticked on or off. Now, basically, for this first bit, all that PGS will do is mean that you can't use these cylinder wheels if it's ticked, but if it's unticked you can use both of them, both of these chassis. So what I'm going to show you how to do first is how to change these wheels into balls, basically, so you can use them with PGS ticked on. So you're going to want to select them all, obviously by using the select tool or any other tool, it doesn't really matter, just hold shift and click them all. And then what you're going to want to do is go to the properties, scroll down and click where it says cylinder. There will be a little drop down arrow and you want to click ball. That will change all of them to balls. That is fine, you don't need to do anything else from there. They're all the same size, everything, if you're using this pack. Sometimes it might change depending on if they're a point or something of a size, but for this quick robot you won't need to do anything. Alright, the second thing I want to show you is how to group things. Grouping things is key when you're building a robot. Once you're finished with a robot or a weapon, you need to group it with the button you want to choose. In this case we are using this seat here. So we're going to want to group this part of the robot with the seat. So just select it, or you can select every bit, but it's better to just click and drag, select all of it. And we'll go up here in home and it says group. Click that and all of it is grouped. Now when you select it, it will be grouped, and when you go into a server it will be grouped together, so that seat will only work with that chassis. Now we'll delete that because we don't actually need it at the moment. What I'm going to show you how to do now is how to add parts to your robot. Okay, so this selection of parts will come with the chassis that is in the model. I'm going to only use this wedge first, although you can use the other parts and they work basically all in the same way, however they have different meshes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld this. Now this I've already put weld on, but basically to put weld on you need to go into model, surface, click the drop down arrow and go into add weld. To bring up the little laser, you're going to want to click on the surface, which has the orange outline around it of both of the parts. You can only do one, but I think it's safer to just do both, and then drag it on or move it on using the move tool, and it is stuck there. When you click play it will stay. Right, so I don't quite like the size of that. As you can see, it doesn't quite fit onto the block, so what I'm going to use is I'm going to use the scale tool. Click on the wedge and I'm going to drag this across and scale it up. There we go. Now it fits the whole length of that block, of that side of the block, and is welded on. Okay, so now I've only got one wedge on there, so what I'm going to do now is I want to put one on the back so that if it's flipped over I can still run and I can still attack robots and still get underneath them. So what I'm going to use is I'm going to go into home and I'm going to duplicate that block, only that block, and then pull it along using the move tool. The move tool is located here, and there we go. I've got two of those wedges exactly the same size. Alright, now what I want to do is I want to rotate it. So here's the rotate tool, and it'll bring up this little cursor of the XYZ. And I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees along this angle here, and I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees over here, and then I'm going to re-rotate it because that's wrong. There we go, it's fine. Alright, so now this is rotated and this is facing the exact opposite way to that block. I'm going to again drag it across and place it on this back block. Now it's not in the right place, so I'm going to use the move tool to precisely move it along. Now sometimes it won't move it in chunks, it'll move it smoothly, and what you need to do that is go into model, and there's this bit here which is how far it will move basically. There's one stud, in which case it will move one stud at a time, which is quite a big gap, or there's a fifth of a stud, which is the one I use, and I would recommend using, which does it a fifth of the stud of the way, and then there's the off, which moves it wherever you need it. Okay, so now I've got that robot done. This robot will be eligible to enter in competitions. However, I don't quite like robots' looks at the moment, so what I want to do is I want to change the cosmetics of it. So I'm going to click this wedge, and I'm going to go over to here in model, and I'm going to select material, and I'm going to go down to diamond plate. So that looks better. I think I'll change the other wedge to that as well. And I don't quite like the colour of them either, so I'm going to select them both and change the colour to grey. There we go. Now I think that looks better, to be honest. Now what I want to do now is I want to group them by clicking drag and pressing group. And I'm going to go home and play. So you can run, which will basically just drop it, and you can see if weapons work. It's good for seeing if weapons work. Or you can press play or F5 and it will load up a screen. If it actually does it, there we go. And it will drop you in. There I am, my little avatar. It will drop you in and you can walk over to your robot, sit on the seat where you're supposed to be driving it, and drive it around. Now, this is a great way to test your robots and see whether they work or not, see whether they work, and you'll need WASD, or you can use the arrow keys to control, but I always use the WASD because it's much easier to use. Alright, so this is a basic robot, and that was a basic robot tutorial. I'll be doing more tutorials on how to create different weapons, and I will also be doing a separate video on PGS and what that does to your robots, because it's highly confusing, and I know a lot of people are getting I know a lot of people are struggling with it at the moment and struggling to come to terms with the new PGS system, but it's quite simple and you'll kick yourself afterwards. So I've been Spitfire Robotics. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you're a little bit smarter after it, and stay tuned for more tips and tricks and how to make robots and make weapons. I think the next one I'll be doing is how to make a spinner, both for horizontal and vertical. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.